today we are welcoming Lindsay DeFeo here to Lakeland. Okay, Lindsay is an accomplished professional in the hospitality industry. So she's all about food. We all love food, right? Okay, and the greatest thing about her business is she makes it for you so you don't have to do it for yourself. Okay. She's known for her exceptional leadership and dedication to providing unique and memorable experiences to her customers. So this year she's had a great year. She is named the Emerging Leaders 4 Under 40 and also United Way's Emerging Leader of the Year. Okay, so she's incredibly involved in our community, and I'm assuming she might talk about this, but if she doesn't, I'll tell you, the more involved in your community, it really reaps rewards for your business. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur. So as owner and director of operations for Leolo Hospitality in Mentor, she oversees all aspects of the business, which she'll talk about today. So customer relations, member experience, social media, administration, and HR, which is human resources. She's integral in launching a unique meal experience in 2021 that provides healthy, flavor-filled meals to the community. Again, she's cooking for those people that don't want to cook, people like me. Okay, she grew up in Mentor, hey. She is a graduate of Lake Catholic High School. Then she went to study hospitality management, and she graduated valedictorian from Le Cordon Bleu School in Pittsburgh. Okay, early in her career, she worked for the renowned Ritz-Carlton Cleveland in room operations. And then this experience provided a solid knowledge in the customer experience and a deep understanding of providing exceptional service to guests. So from there, she went down to Naples, Florida, which is gorgeous, by the way. Mm-hmm. Why'd you come back here? No, we know it's awesome up here, but
I'll explain.
Naples is nice. Okay, so she got to work for one of the top country clubs in the nation, the club at Mediterra. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay, where she ran their hiring and training department for all their food and beverage events and staff. So after 6 years of being down in Florida, Lindsay and her husband, Chef Larry, made the decision to come back to her hometown, okay, make an investment here in Lake County and raise their 2 children. That's Leo and Marlo, and that's who Leolo is named for. In her spare time, she's an avid runner and has completed several marathons. What's the most recent one?
I'm training for a double marathon, a half and a full in January, so.
Oh my God, okay, so my feet are hurting just listening to that. Okay, she enjoys reading and exploring local restaurants and is actively involved in both the United Way and Emerging Leaders. So can we have a round of applause for Lindsay?
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us, and welcome to Lakeland.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much to Gretchen. Thanks to Lakeland. Thanks for all of you guys for being here today. Please don't hesitate to just ask questions throughout. I can do a Q&A at the end too, but if you want a little bit more information about anything, please don't hesitate to ask. So I'm kind of a little bit shocked to even be here. When I kind of first thought of my life after finishing school, I never really considered being an entrepreneur. I have received a lot of accolades this year and in the past couple years. It's kind of shocking to me. It's actually really nice because I'm getting to do what I want to do, which is, I launched this idea with my husband that is now doing very well. We get to wear jeans to work. We get to put on whatever music we want to listen to. We get to have the customer interactions that we choose to have. I can ask someone no longer to be a customer of ours, and I think that's just baffling to me that I get to make all of these decisions. And I don't know if I ever went in with that goal, but that's kind of just how I ended up here, and so I'm going to kind of get into that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit today about who I am, what my business is, and then I kind of want to find out a little bit about you guys. I saw that Gretchen already started with raising hands, and there seemed to be a lot of hands up with wanting to be entrepreneurs, which is awesome. So I would who has to be here today? Raise them high, let's go. We're still gonna make it fun. Okay, is anyone choosing to be here? You don't have to be here? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, yay. Okay, who's in high school still? Dang, that's awesome. Okay, I don't even know if I knew what an entrepreneur was when I was in high school, which kind of speaks sadly about me. And then one more time, who wants to be an entrepreneur? Raise it high, be proud, let's go. Okay, perfect. Okay, does anyone know what they're ready to be an entrepreneur in? Only like one? Okay. Does anyone want food and beverage? Okay, good idea. Okay, so I think I'm gonna kind of start with the classic question of like, where do you wanna be in 5 years? Like, I've always hated that question because I think it kind of limited my thinking, and I always wanted to make sure I was just following the trajectory of what either myself with my own goals or my family or with like society itself wanted you to be. So I'm gonna kind of like get over that. We all have plans and we all have those 5-year goals that everyone like pushes on us. But the ability to be able to pivot on those plans and willing to change or adjust has helped me dramatically in getting where I'm at today. This applies to both my business and my personal. And like, for example, at different points in my life, you could have asked me, wow, it's such a great company to work for. Do you ever plan on leaving the Ritz-Carlton? Florida is so beautiful. Are you gonna ever move back home? Are you ever gonna open your own restaurant one day? You and Larry would be so successful. At one point in time, I would have answered no to all of those questions. But to like be forced into that answer was limiting my potential and my growth, because then I was forcing that idea and viewpoint upon myself. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit of a story here. When I was studying hospitality management, I wanted to work for the Ritz-Carlton. It was the best of the best, creme de la creme. The service standards they had, the benefits, the travel, the possibilities were endless. I got great grades, obviously. I worked my butt off. I went in for my interview, and they asked me the classic question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? My answer, working as a manager at the Ritz-Carlton. I was hired, and I absolutely loved it. Sorry. It was everything I dreamed of and more. My first day of work, a famous at that time comedian, she's not very famous anymore, but she came in, and this was my first day. She was yelling at my boss, the head of the front desk, over a room assignment. She started using quite a few profanities and then dropped the classic line, "Do you know who I am?" So instantly, the general manager of the hotel came out and told this celebrity that we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. He asked her to leave, and she was never allowed to stay at another Ritz-Carlton again. So I thought that was the most amazing thing. I just was in awe, because I always wanted to work for the top group of people, the ability to not have to settle for customers just to have customers. The respect that they have for employees was amazing. After a couple years of working there, my now husband, Chef Larry, was offered a position down in Naples, Florida. It was gonna be a great career move for him. And Naples is such a big vacation town, they actually have 2 Ritz-Carltons there. So I was like, this is wonderful. I am so excited to go down to Naples. The transfer portal within the Ritz is just wonderful. It's gonna be so easy breezy. Larry was going to work for a prestigious country club, and they were doing a staffing gut job. Every position was basically being eliminated, and the new employees that were coming in were going to elevate the brand and bring it up to one of the top 50 country clubs in the country. They were going to get to make it what it was meant to be. I was offered a promotion at the Ritz-Carlton Naples Beach Resort, but the CEO of the new country club asked to take me out. He offered me a position with administration and hospitality where I would be able to get to launch every single department's administration, their management, their structure, their hiring. I would get to work in that department, hire the people to take over, train them, and then move on to the next department. It really got me the ability to learn so many different areas in just a hospitality field. At the time, I just heard administration role, and it seemed like a step down from what I was doing at the Ritz-Carlton. And the Ritz-Carlton was this brand that everyone knew and respected. Anytime I would say, I work at the Ritz-Carlton, people would be like, wow, that's so cool. But I sat down, I wrote it all out, I thought about it, and I realized that while it may seem like a step down temporarily, it could be dramatically great for learning and learning a little bit about who I am and if I even want to stay in this area. If you were to move around in the Ritz-Carlton, they make you transfer within departments. There's a 6-month rule, like you kind of start on the bottom again of that department, and there's just so many different structures and rules in place, and it's for a good reason. But because of that, I wasn't able to expand and learn for my potential growth. Okay, gotta keep this on. So this is the property that I worked at down there. They had both a beach property, and then they also had one of the top 50 golf courses in the country. And so my husband and I both worked there for 6 years. I was able to learn so many different areas. I worked in accounting, events, food and beverage, merchandise, hiring, training, HR, and all of these were really the foundation for opening my business. It was not just beautiful, like it's not like we got to go to those places except for to work. It wasn't all rainbows and butterflies. The work was hard. Naples is an extremely seasonal place. 90% of the population would leave for the summer. We called it summer camp for seniors. They come down to the country club, want to be entertained 24/7, and then just leave. We'd work on average about 60 to 70 hours a week. And then on big holiday weekends, I'd work on average about 16 to 20 hours a day. It's easier when you're 20-ish. Okay, so after 7 years, we decided that we needed a support system though. Our family was still up north, or at least mine is. Larry's from New Mexico. And this industry, like I said, the hours are long. So we decided to move back to my hometown. Larry got an executive chef role at a country club here. He worked there a couple years. We had 2 kids under the age of 2, and we were just starting to figure it all out when COVID hit. Larry was fired on the first day of COVID. And so as an executive chef with the closures of everywhere, what the heck are we gonna do? Does anyone want to work as or want to become an entrepreneur or starting a business in a field that you're not currently working in? Oh, nice. Okay, so one of my biggest suggestions is try no matter what, even if you're just like getting your feet wet, even if you're just doing it like for like 4 hours a week, try to get into that field. Just even work for free. People do that. They used to, at least back in the day when I started. There was a thing called staging, and that's what chefs used to have to do for 3 full days before they were allowed to even apply at a restaurant or a country club. So just to try and get in that area. Because my major philosophy is that every owner or entrepreneur or creator of a company should be able to do most jobs. No job should ever be beneath you. Now, this is mostly true because if you see me cooking, please do not eat the food because I am not very good at cooking. But when you're considering starting a business, do make sure that you're doing something that you feel passionate about. Make sure that you believe fully and you've had your feet wet, you've tried it. Because if you're going to be committing these hours and days and everything into it, it's definitely important.
Now, will you please consider investing in that toddler cologne I've been bugging you about? Toddler cologne, baby. You smell good. Make a Baby Tuxedo clothing line. A department store with a guest list. White fur earmuffs for men. Contact lenses that display text messages. Invent a phone that smells good. Own a nightclub called Eclipse that's only open for 1 hour, 2 times a year. Cover charge, $5,000. I can keep going.
So Tom Haverford, I don't know if you guys are Parks and Rec fans, but he always has a new idea coming. And so as long as you're like starting in it, getting your feet wet, let's work our way up towards that. So I kind of want to talk about franchises versus startups. Both of these require hard work, perseverance, grit, and money. So let me tell you a little bit about franchises. If you're not in the entrepreneurs class, franchises. Does everyone know what a franchise is? We're good? Okay. So franchises, they give you the blueprint. They already know what's successful, what's worked. They probably helped you choose your location. There are leaders and managers around or in different areas that can help train you. You can probably even go to another store, work there for a few weeks, see what they're doing well, and then bring it back to what you're doing. How about negatives? Is there any negatives to franchises?
You have to play by the rules.
Correct.
Costs.
Cost, yep. Anyone else? Fees, yes. Okay, so startups. You get to create the blueprint. It's your vision. You get to choose your logo, your brand, your colors. You get to wear jeans if you want. You get to choose your hours. You get to choose when you're open, when you're closed. Like holidays, you get to decide, hey, maybe on Christmas Day we're gonna close. That might not be the case with the franchise. If you're Honey Baked Ham or Denny's or something like that. You get to choose what you're selling or making. If all of a sudden you start a woodwind hobby, you could start selling your woodwinds at your store. But what are some negatives of startups?
Failure?
Correct.
Bankruptcy.
That one's scary. Anyone else?
No guidance.
Guidance, exactly. Anyone else?
The work-life balance is bad.
Yes. But that can also be true of franchises. Anyone? Okay. So my mom, who actually came today, which was very nice of her, very supportive, she worked in real estate as an agent and for decades. After 25 years, she was offered an opportunity to purchase a real estate franchise with 11 other people. After a few years, they were down to only 3 owners because a lot of people disagreed just even about like bricks, stuff like that. I went and worked there part-time while I had kids, and the company is extremely successful. But I went and worked there part-time while I had both of my kids, 2 under 2. And I could really see some of the limits that the franchise would put on you. It was perfect for what she was looking for and what she wanted at the time, but it was something that I just never saw myself doing. Things changed throughout regarding leadership. For example, initially, they wanted it so that the CEO role of each office did not own part of the franchise, and then later on down the road, they wanted to have it so that the CEO person also owned part of it. So if they weren't happy with the way that you were doing your job, they could then eliminate your job and eliminate your ownership in the company. Things like that were just a little bit scary to me, and especially because then you were forced into doing 2 roles. Not only were you like the CEO and the like you were the owner, and then also the CEO and the boss. And I didn't like that they could just be like, okay, well, times are changing, so we're just going to switch it up, even though you signed a 15-year contract with us. And if you weren't up to their numbers or in their location, they also could just close you like that. So this is one of the major reasons why my husband and I decided that we wanted to go the startup route versus a franchise. Okay, so I had my social media posted earlier, with if you wanted to follow us or whatever. We're big social media people. We are actually really big on Facebook because that's kind of like our clientele. I'm more of an Instagram person, but another benefit to being a startup is you can kind of do whatever you want, including leveraging your family, which I do because Leola's named after our kids. So I constantly do that. So if you look here, what's like the difference between the two posts, this is Facebook again. So our daughter is much more popular when it comes to likes than photos of the food, if you notice on the left. And so it's one of those perks to being able to own your own business. You can really leverage personal stories. Like after I ran the marathon, I told everyone and they were just so excited about it. The customers would come in and talk about it. And you're kind of limited sometimes when it comes to franchises with those types of things because you're only supposed to be posting or doing within their brand. Okay, as Gretchen mentioned earlier, Leolo comes from my kids' names. So I like to constantly post them every once in a while. I think eventually they're going to hate it. So I will definitely take them into consideration when they like to do that. But we can also, because of this, we sell a lot of queso. It's our number one, most popular item, I think, that we sell. And so on September 20th, that's also National Queso Day. And so now we can make that into a big holiday. And people get so excited. Same thing with Cinco de Mayo. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about Leolo. Does anyone have any questions or anything yet? No? Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Leolo, and we're unique. Definitely. Has anyone ever heard of us before? Oh, that's sad. Okay, so we are located in the same plaza as Drug Mart. Leolo Hospitality, we are a meal prep concept. We have a grab-and-go refrigerator where you can just come in every single day except for Fridays and just come in and get some meals. They look similar to that one up in the upper left-hand corner. All of our meals are cold. They come with simple instructions to heat and serve. I like to say that we are elevated television dinners, basically. Larry's a classically trained chef. We use only high-quality ingredients. Our food's prepared with extra virgin olive oil. We don't have butter. We have no loose flour in the building. Our meals are relatable. We have taco bowls and meatloaf, but they're healthy and prepared that way. And so it's a good way for people to get their healthy meals while also not scaring them away with just forcing them into quinoa and stuff like that. We have been open in Menor for 3.5 years. We've made some mistakes along the way. We have a subscription service. We have 85 members with a wait list. We take pre-orders without being a member. And then, like I said, we also have a grab and go that sells out almost every single day. But let's flash back to COVID. Larry wasn't working. Not a lot of families are doing well. A super stressful time because people were learning to work from home while also having to be teachers in their kids' school. Stress was to the max. People were begging Larry to cook their family dinner. So we started looking into it. We heard about a place selling some used catering equipment, decided to go check it out and see if we could make things happen. I had been preparing HelloFresh meals, which if anyone has ever prepared HelloFresh, they really just do the grocery shopping for you, and I hated it because I hate cooking. So we go and we look at this new space. Well, we actually were just looking for equipment, but we saw the space. And the space was perfect for what we were looking for. It was only 1,000 square feet, stainless steel on the walls, we had walk-in cooler, and we were able to secure that space. So this is really all it is. We like to say we're small but mighty. So we were able to get 2 very small loans, and this went to buying equipment and also paying a marketing, branding, and website person. I knew that we could handle almost every single thing else, but I knew that I could not make a website. And I think that is one of the most important things when going into starting a business is knowing where you're weak and knowing where your partner and knowing where your partners are weak and making sure that you're outsourcing, making sure that you're hiring in that person. And that can also just mean personality traits. If you have two timid people and nobody wants to fire anyone or talk to your employees about discipline, that's not going to go well when you need to let someone go. So making sure that you balance your personalities, or then hire a manager to then come in and be at that personality level. So I hired a marketing person. She helped come up with the branding. She also created our website. And we got the keys on December 15th of 2020. And we did not do a build out. We did not, all we did was a coat of paint for the most part, cleaned, obviously. We had our equipment delivered, and we were not able to open until March 17th. It took us that long with permitting, with equipment deliveries. This was COVID, so things did take longer back then, but it wasn't just a quick turnaround, even though we already had our menu and everything. Okay, and so when determining our branding, we came up with 6 different customer profiles. All of them ended up being a complete waste of time. They were all wrong. One of the biggest surprises when starting a business is realizing who your biggest supporters are going to be. You think it's going to be certain people, and then you end up realizing it's not them at all. And I still have relatives who don't even understand what I do. Like, they just don't get it. But we have so many customers, friends, everything that do, and they respect it. So we go in with this plan of building our brand and helping families. A few months in, a local gym reached out to us in Willoughby. They said that our foods looked really good, but they were looking for something a little bit different. They wanted the macros, which is the calorie counts. They wanted a bowl that weightlifters could eat before or after being at the gym, and that they could just toss in the microwave. You've eaten it before? So they wanted a bowl for that specification. So we designed it, and we came up with that for them. And so thus the Nourish Bowl was born. So this is basically what our bread and butter is now. We have 20 different proteins, 25 different bases, 30 different toppings, 20 sauces. The possibilities are kind of endless. We still do like meatloaf with mashed potatoes and green beans and stuff like that, but really, this is it. We provide the macros for all these meals because that's what people care about now. People care about the calorie counts. People care about eating healthy. And so we kind of pivoted and changed our entire brand. And I want to say we were about 1.5 years in at this point where we really switched up the menu, maybe just 1 year in. But at that point, we had 25 members or subscription-based people. And we were nervous because we were going to switch our menu entirely on them. And they had been loyal to us. But this would make it more successful for us. And this would make it more successful for more people. And at that time, we were pre-order only. We wanted the ability to people to just come in off the street and grab a meal. People don't always pre-order. People don't think of that. People, forget. So the ability to have just a refrigerator in our front lobby where they can just come in and grab meals. So the way that we had to do that is we had to change our whole menu into this. We had to pivot. We had to toss our entire business plan foundation out the window. And so we went to all of our members and we explained that this is the concept, this is what we're going to be doing, we're switching our menu, we're changing it up. We only had 2 people quit. And within 1.5 weeks of us changing the menu, we had 10 new members. So we are so happy that we didn't decide to sacrifice ourselves to not lose customers, because now we have 85-ish members. Like I said, a wait list to join. We're 3.5 years in. We're doing extremely successful. Studies estimate that 60% of restaurants don't make it to year 3. We're at year 3.5, almost 4. So as a unique concept that opened during the pandemic, this is huge for us. It was hard, not gonna lie. Working with your spouse, then also going home and dealing with 2 children was not easy. You have to learn to respect one another, and it took us an entire year to figure that out. Our social media, I do it while I'm watching my daughter do gymnastics. Our membership is entirely text message based, so they reach out to us at all hours. They're probably texting me right now. But we definitely, like I said, made a few mistakes along the way. So again, working with your spouse, one mistake that we made when opening is that we didn't discuss who would do what. I studied hospitality management, so front of house. My husband is a chef, so back of house. It's pretty obvious, but we never discussed who was going to do the dishes. So the first day we're open, it's crazy, and there's just dishes piling up, and they're just sitting there, and I had my nails done for the occasion, which now looking back is hilarious to me, but now I, to this day, still do all the dishes. It's just a respect thing. Like I said, you never want to do a job that's beneath you. I enjoy it now. I put my music on, I have headphones in, and I just get those babies done. Okay, so when you think ahead to your business being successful, let's say that you're deciding to become an entrepreneur. You're thinking about your business. You're not going to be thinking of it failing, hopefully. Hopefully you're in a positive mindset. You imagine yourself happy. That's the whole goal, is you're supposed to be happy. Rich, probably. Don't go in food and beverage, though, if you want that. Everyone wants to be happy, but when considering what you want to do, don't necessarily think about being happy, but maybe think instead what pain you want, what pain you can have in your life. What are you willing to struggle for? The struggle and problems grow into happiness, and then they lead to your lifelong fulfillment. So this quote right here sums that up, and it's from the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F-U-C-K. So people want to start their own businesses, but you don't end up a successful entrepreneur unless you find a way to appreciate the risk, the uncertainty, the repeated failures, the insane hours dedicated to something that may earn you absolutely nothing. The real question to determine success isn't what do you want to enjoy, is what pain do you want to sustain? So as Gretchen mentioned earlier, I'm a big runner, but I never liked running, ever. I started running a few years ago just to lose weight, and after about 6 weeks of dedication, pain, misery, not being able to breathe, all of a sudden, there was this aha moment. Wow, I really love this. I run about 4 to 5 times a week. The first 1.5 miles is always terrible, no matter what. It's painful, and I'm constantly questioning why I do this to myself. But then all of a sudden, the zen comes. I have to struggle through those parts to get to the parts that I want. And our struggles determine our success. We don't just end at the first goal that we set. There's always going to be another goal. We have to struggle to get to that next goal. So a few years ago when I started running, I said that my bucket list item was to run a half marathon. If I could run a half marathon, my life would be complete when it came to my fitness journey. And so I did it. October 2021, I ran my first half marathon. And then a few weeks later, I got the itch again. So I was crazy, and I signed up for a full marathon. And now, 3 years later, as I mentioned earlier, in January 2025, I'm going to do the Goofies Challenge in Disney, which is a half a marathon on Saturday and a full marathon on Sunday. So I think what I'm trying to say is, even though you set these goals for yourself, you're never going to be fulfilled if you just want to keep going. You're going to have more and more goals. You're going to have to keep going. So we need to stop looking at just the finish line and evaluating the struggle to get there. Because the finish line is going to come, and then there's going to be another finish line, and then there's going to be another finish line. But your day-to-day work, your every single day work is the struggle work. So you really want to make sure that whatever industry you're choosing to be an entrepreneur in, you love the struggle. You like the dishes. I like the dishes. I really like doing them now. But I also like talking to people, and I also like doing, like, even just the cleaning, the mopping. I do that too. Like, making sure that you're enjoying all aspects of the business, because you're the one that's responsible for it. And you're the one that's going to be taking pride in it. And so making sure that that's the way that you want it to be. So that's all I got. But I can take questions, I think, and I was going to talk about more stuff if you guys wanted, so. That's an interesting question. I really think it depends on you. So what drives you? Like, are you wanting, is making it through the day, is that a goal? Is it, oh, sorry, I'm touching my microphone. What's the struggle in? And even if it's just small steps into making it into a big step, to me, is good. I don't love long-term goals because I think it really limits. If you get set on that path, it's impossible sometimes to get yourself out of the goal space. So, like, for example, if our goal was, like, my marketing person and I actually parted ways because I didn't like the ways that she was trajecting my business. And she wanted me to fit into other areas like that she's already worked with in the past. So she's like, well, set a goal of how many members you want. And I'm like, it's not about that, because I want, like, quality versus quantity. I want to have the relationships built. I would like I'm not looking for, like, certain awards or anything like that. So I guess my short answer to this, that's not really an answer, is to set the short goals. To be like, okay, I want to make it through this year and have a better year than last year. But hey, like, if all of a sudden we want to become caterers, like, and start doing weddings, our sales might go down from it. So I don't want to be locked into that goal because it's not realistic. So I guess short-term goals, but also really doing what drives you. If it's your goal to get through the end of the month and do it this way, like if you're a numbers person, you need to be like, by the 31st, I need to do this. Like, I need it written on my calendar, I need it here. Then make it that way, because cater it to the way that you're going to become successful. No one's going to dictate it for you, unless you're a franchise. Anyone else? Because I can keep talking about other things. Go ahead.
Does your business do delivery?
We do not. And so in the beginning, people asked us to do delivery because everyone was doing delivery. And so I really started looking into it. And the customers that we had, especially at first, couldn't even show up to pick up their food. And so we are refrigerated, we're not frozen. So if they weren't there to get their food, all of the food would go bad. And so we contemplated it. We said that there could be a charge for specific deliveries or anything like that. And it just didn't seem to work out. It is something we are considering adding now that COVID's more over. We can work with, like, other companies, DoorDash and stuff. They take a very large amount of your money. And Larry makes food in our cooler every single day that's completely different from the day before. And we sell out a lot. So it's hard because we're like, okay, we have 14 of these, let's just say pasta bolognese. That was a meal he did this week where he's never done it before. He just decided, hey, he's like an artist. Like, hey, I'm going to make pasta. So he puts pasta bolognese in the fridge. I post it on social media, and they're sold out within an hour. So to be able to, like, do that with delivery, I would feel like I could be failing to, like, get to that point because I'm disappointing people. Plus, I don't need to right now, so. They're about $14 to $17, depending. So like chicken is 14, salmon and steak are 17.
Okay. Are there options to add like more protein to it?
Yep.
Like going there?
We've never, ever had someone do it. You can, but our protein, we have 6 ounces usually of protein, and usually it's the perfect amount. We can do, and we also sell a la carte all of our proteins just by themselves. So like some people order like chicken, but it's mostly moms who don't want, just like to put it on their own salads or something like that. I didn't. We got lucky, sort of, I guess. I mean, I did. I got lucky because when we moved here, we were in Florida, and our house wasn't selling in Florida, so we had to live with my parents. So when COVID happened, we were already living with my parents with 2 kids. Luckily, they had enough space where it wasn't extremely stressful, but then we were able to save our money and open the business. It takes a lot of money to open a business, even if we are, like I said, we are very small, and it was still a lot of money. And we did not start paying ourselves until year 3. Probably for us, so we got very lucky. The building that we had already had a hood system, which is $70,000 typically for a hood. It already was in the building. They also let us use the walk-in cooler that was there, which are $30,000 to $40,000. So we saved ourselves $110,000 by choosing the building that we chose. And buying equipment, we spent $40,000. My marketing person, I paid about $15,000 for website branding, all of that stuff my first year. And then, everything else. You got t-shirts and stuff like that, I'd say is another $10,000. I would probably say, there's them buying all the food. So I would say if you're expecting to open a business and you're a small business, I would say expect at least $100,000. It goes quick. Oh, that's a good question. That's actually one of my, in case you guys don't ask questions, talking points. So we have only paid advertising 3 times. I do have a sponsored ad right now on Facebook, which I typically don't do, but it's for Thanksgiving. We only have been in print twice, and it's Mentor City Magazine. It goes to every single house in Mentor. So I have done that 2 times out of being open 3.5 years. And then I think there was one other advertising that I paid for that was print that got nothing, and I think I paid $1,000 for it. I am very lucky because our food is beautiful and it photographs very well. We relied entirely in the beginning on word of mouth, and then when I started posting on social media, I know what time to post. That's very important. I always post at certain times. I know what days are better. And I use the social media algorithms to my benefit. Like I said, if, for example, we cheat the system, if, for example, Larry has overmade food for the fridge, going into Thursday, let's say tomorrow, I will post a photo of my family, or I will post something that will garner more likes and more shares and more comments to get more people to come in. It's really is taking what you have and making it so that people want to see it. And the branding of it has been amazing. We would not be nearly as successful without social media. We probably have closed without social media, honestly. But we sell out and we make the meals desirable. For example, when I told you he put pasta in the fridge, I posted, red alert, red alert. Everyone's constantly asking for pasta. I posted in the fridge, so get up here if you want to come get it, because we don't hold food for you. And then people came in. Does that answer your question? We don't. We close on Christmas Day. We close on Thanksgiving Day. And then in January, December 31st, we do a clear out the fridge, we call it. And he literally empties the entire restaurant, puts it in our cooler. And we usually do it for like 20% off or something. We had a line out the door last year, of 10 people waiting to get in. And we sell every single thing, and then we close for 2.5 weeks. Yes, it's really, we do this all by ourselves. It's just the two of us. We will be hiring someone next year, so then it's gonna be a different, I'm gonna have to factor it in. Because but it'll also be better quality of life.
What kind of positions would you open up?
So I think I'm gonna hire 2 different people. I'm going to hire a member liaison so that I can increase my memberships. Because like I said, they're texting me all the time. And I don't mean it bad, it's what I wanted. But oh, is this spicy? Is this? Is this? Can I get double protein? Those kinds of questions. And then additionally, we would hire a prep cook, someone to cut vegetables and stuff like that. Anyone else?
What are your hours?
So we're mostly open. It's easiest to remember 12 to 6 because he cooks the food in the morning, and then we open 12 to 6. Some days, it's nice because we get to be home with our kids, and most people don't already have dinner figured out by 6. That's what's one of the nicest things. Most chefs are at work until 9 or 10 p.m. So this really is giving us much better work-life balance. So it's very much something to consider when opening a business. And so for the most part, 6. Tuesdays we're open later to accommodate more people. Thursdays we open earlier to accommodate more people because people would complain they can't get there then, they can't get, so we do offer it, and then we post our hours repetitively on social media, because they forget. So having a business plan, 100%, because you want to be able to reference your business plan. When I struggled with that, it was very difficult for me to make a business plan. I asked my aunt, who was an accountant, to help me through it because I didn't take any classes like that. And so I could have, but again, it was in the middle of COVID. Everything was closed. So, and then really believing in your product, knowing your product or knowing your business, knowing everything, knowing it back and forwards. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how are you going to get someone to invest $100,000 or whatever it is into you? Building relationships is so huge to me. Because, so to me, I never wanted to rely on anyone, which is why I got loans. I don't want someone else's opinion. I want my own opinion. I don't want someone to be like, oh, why is Larry making that? That's not that good. I don't want that. I wanted it to just be me and him. So that's why I chose to go the loan route. But so going out into the community has been amazing. Like Gretchen said in the beginning, I got involved with the United Way, which is a local Northeast Ohio, there's multiple chapters in Northeast Ohio, but Lake County has their own chapter. And then I would go to networking events additionally. And at networking events, you meet the city planner, and you meet these types of people who are integral to these kinds of things. You know who else you meet at these kinds of networking events? Are bankers. People that you're now building relationships with who might say, okay, well, I can give out 6 loans. Oh, let me brush up and have a meeting with him. And because I know that he was interested in that. You also meet other people who might have money that you don't even know about. And when you're pitching your product, you are then other people are hearing you. If you join your Chamber of Commerce, you can go to an event at least twice a week and network. There's these things called coffee contacts where you go in the morning and we all stand in a big group and we each get 30 seconds to give our pitch. And so then afterwards you get to meet for like 15 or 20 minutes and you go up to people and be like, oh my God, I want to hear more. I want to work with you. I want to do this. But building those relationships, COVID was horrible for starting a business, but learning that I have to get out there and interact with other people has been integral to like just even learning the community. I wasn't here, I was in Florida for so long. So to me, it's baffling that I was even able to win those awards when I haven't even been back home that long. But it's because of the relationships I've been building.
You're probably having a pretty good relationship with the health and food inspector.
She likes us. We're definitely friends. It's really easy when it's just two of you, and my husband is psychotic when it comes to cleanliness, so she definitely respects us 100%. Like, she doesn't have to worry because we don't have other employees. It's pretty easy. Okay, so it's not necessarily advice, but the CEO of the country club that I worked at, he started at the country club in Cleveland, and he started as the shoe shiner boy when he was 14. He worked his way up to being the general manager of that club, and then he went to Oakmont. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, but it's a very successful country club in Pittsburgh with a great reputation. It holds the US Open every few years. He went and was the general manager there by the time he was 36 years old, which is insane. He's still a success story in like that area. So he was the CEO of the club at Mediterra when I was there. And we had our first big event, and he was still there at 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're all waiting for everyone to leave and to clean up. And he, again, this is like a super successful guy, the CEO, and he stayed and cleaned up with us the whole time. He was pushing chair racks, he was folding linen, he was doing, like, just the fact that, like, he wanted to make sure that we felt supported, like, during this. He did it all the time. It was just so amazing. So what I would say is, if it's advice, or like, you know, I can tell you something all the time. Like, I can say, okay, here's my advice, but putting it to action and like actually believing what you're like laying out, to me, is more impressive. Like, show it with your actions, not with your words. Yeah, I think. I don't know. So again, I don't want to limit myself. We're in a shopping center. We have a lease. There is a space maybe going to be available in a few years. And I don't know, do we just expand and add more meal prep? Do we expand and add a restaurant? It's so hard. It's right now, square footage is a killer here. Like, I mean, things are, like, you constantly see Fridays is closed. Quaker Steak and Lube is closed. All these large restaurants keep closing. So it's a little scary to me. My favorite restaurant in the area is the Pompadour, and it's only a tiny bit bigger than us. And they're only open 3 days a week. So I might take my, like, you know, might mold myself out after that too. Wow. Finding our building was extremely easy. That was wonderful. And then I think, to me, it was social media, but I excel in that kind of thing. And that's another reason that me and my like marketing person actually parted ways, because I realized she was like doing all the fun stuff of my business. And I was doing the dishes and the mopping and getting dirty. And and I felt like this was like 2.5 years in, and I felt like I was losing the passion for what, like, the things that I like. And so I told her, I said, I really like you, I respect every single thing about you, and we're good friends and everything, but I need to take this back over, because I'm becoming a robot. I don't even get to use my creative juices anymore. Like, I'm typing and I'm texting and that's it. So I think, like, now doing the social media, like, and doing all that kind of stuff, And starting it in the beginning, which I did do in the beginning, was probably the easiest for me. My husband would say cooking, so like you have two totally different answers.